Hey there, it's Adam here from adaminsights.com, and I've finally gotten around to loading and shooting with and also developing and checking out the photos from my Leica 1C. This guy is nearly 100 years old and the body is in great working order. If you haven't already had a look at them, check out my videos on my quick intro to this camera and also with me loading it. And as promised, I put a roll of Kodak Portra through the camera and I got it processed in the same place I would get all of my film processed down at the Adelaide Central Market at Photoco in there. They do a great job. Anyway, I want to share the results. But before I do, I just want to explain how did I feel about shooting this camera. Well, first of all, I was excited. Just to show you around this guy again, we've actually got a 35mm pull-out Leica lens on here. This is an f3.5 to f22. There is no rangefinder, no means of focus assistance on this camera. This one is the Leica 1C, so it is one of the most common versions of the Leica 1 out there. I love the way that they just built it with all of, it's like they just bolted on the viewfinder, they just bolted on the accessory chute. I just like the way that they said, yep, it's essential, we'll put it on. There's nothing flashy about the camera. And as I've said before, given its age, it's pre-World War II. I'm aware that this one was originally sold to someone in Germany. You would wonder what it has actually seen and how it's been used. It's obviously been much used and well cared for. This one has been modified for a flash on here as well at some stage. That's actually the terminals there for an original flashlight. And this one still bears the mark Ernst Lights DRP in Wetzlar, Germany. And just to show you around it again and talk about how I shot it. First off, because there's no built-in light meter and no way of manually focusing the camera, I took most of my images at infinity and set my lens to f16. So I shot it with the Sunny 16 rule. So that's where if it's a bright sunny day, you set your shutter speed to match the speed of the film as close as you can. And then you set your aperture at f16. If it gets a bit cloudy or the light appears to change, you just tweak your aperture or your shutter speed accordingly. That's great for wide angle shots because it meant I was also shooting at infinity. And I was also able, for some shots, I guessed the distance as well. And I'll fess up, I did also have my Leica MP with me as well, so on some shots I measured the focusing distance there as well. Okay, first thing about shooting the camera, I did feel quite self-conscious using it and taking it out. Not because it's an old, weird-looking camera. Let's face it, I shoot with Leica M's, and this camera's nice and small. I don't feel like I'm sticking out in a crowd, and I feel fine normally taking photos out on the street. But one of the things which I noticed a lot with this camera was this. It's really noisy when compared to my M's, either the M10 or the MP film. They are much quieter. And I really noticed how noisy this guy was, and it probably made me appreciate for the first time the value of a very quiet shutter in a high quality camera. So that was one thing. I did try and be really gentle with the camera as well, even though it is a real tough nut, which is great. One of the things which I noticed, particularly when I was holding it, you've got to keep your fingers away from the shutter speed dial, because if you interrupt that or you touch that while you're taking the picture, you can adversely affect the shutter speed of the camera, which obviously you don't want to do. Alright, the lens, obviously no filter on the lens at all. I was being really careful with adjusting my aperture. Unfortunately, I think that the lens is a little bit soft. I don't think it's aligned properly. I definitely had it pulled out all the way. And I've checked that with a subsequent roll of film as well. So a lot of my photos are a little bit soft. But I love the way that the lens has handled the light. It's definitely got that signature Leica look with the way that particularly the evening light has been handled in these pictures. So all of the mechanics of this body are in excellent order. I'm going to try and see if I can source another pull-out extendable lens in order to take some more photos and see if that lens performs any better.